Hey guys, welcome back to Wheelin' with Wally. Today we're working on the channel's namesake. Wally has a busted radiator. I just got it back from the shop after getting all the re-gear and all the other stuff fixed. Cost me a bunch of money. I took all the windows off. I was ready to drive it this week. It was going to be really nice. I hadn't driven it really in months. So I started it up. I was going to get a tank of gas and I just started noticing a sweet smell. Filled it up, came back, popped the hood to check it out, and I noticed right here on the top of the radiator, it was seeping. So if you take a look at the radiator right here, you'll notice that the top of the TJ radiators are plastic. And if you just come in right here, it's hard to see now, but there's all these tiny little cracks in here. And you can kind of see where it has been running down. It wasn't spraying, it wasn't shooting out, it was just bubbling and running down a little bit. So not necessarily a good thing. It wasn't like critical failure, but it is close. And the last thing you want is your radiator exploding on you. So here's the kicker to all this. Being a 20-year-old vehicle now, the radiators were just discontinued, I think a year or two ago. So it's really hard to find a factory one. And if you read through the forums at all, pretty much everyone says if you need a new radiator, stick with the Mopar factory radiator because all the aftermarket ones fail, they don't cool as well, and it's just not the right route to go. I found a website called We Are Mopar, I think it's W-E, the letter R, Mopar, I think .com, and they have tons of Mopar parts. It was in the forum post, I think it was posted like last year, and they said that they still had a ton of the automatic radiators. I went to the website, I found one. They had 6 left in stock, so I ordered one. Came out to just over $500, which was a kick in the balls, but I think I got one of the last unused factory radiators for this you're going to get, so at least I got one. So my TJ is a manual, and like I mentioned, that radiator is for an automatic technically, but from what I read, the automatic radiators will work in a manual TJ. They just have the extra hookups for the transmission cooler on an automatic, so I just won't have to use those. My understanding is that that is a separate closed system in the radiator, so you don't even have to put plugs on it or anything. I'll find out for certain once I get it in there and put some fluid in it, see if it leaks. I don't think it will though, this should work. Here's the radiator in all of its $500 glory. It is in good shape, it looks clean, it looks new. If you come down here to the drain, you'll see that that is stamped Mopar, so I do believe it's a factory radiator. Like I said, it's in great shape, so I think it'll work. These are the extra hookups for the transmission that I shouldn't have to use. So to start swapping these, the first thing I'm going to do is get a bucket and get under there and open the drain on the radiator to start draining out the fluid. It's kind of nice having the new radiator out here because I can just show you on this one instead of trying to crawl under the Jeep and show you. But right here is the drain. All you have to do is give this guy a little quarter turn twist and it'll start dumping out of there. And on the Jeep, it is on the bottom right passenger side. So you just got to go down there and open it up and it'll drain into the bucket. So just reach up here, turn this counterclockwise and loosen it until it starts to drain. While it's draining, I'm going to come up here and pop the cap off so it drains even better. You can already hear it flowing strongly now. Next, we can go ahead and pull off the overflow reservoir. You can just pop this hose off, and then this just slides up and out of the way. After that, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the upper and lower radiator hoses. They have these pinch clamps on there, so I just use a pair of channel locks. I can't do it with one hand, but I bite both sides, pinch it, slide it back, and then once that's out of the way, you can wiggle the hose off. And then both the upper and lower hoses still probably have some antifreeze in them, so just be aware of that. I'll show you the upper hose on camera, and then I'll do the lower one off camera. So this is also a good opportunity to change out these upper and lower radiator hoses if they have any cracks on them or signs of wear. I think mine are still in pretty good shape, so I'm not going to bother doing that. So now I'm going to go ahead and unbolt the fan shroud and slide it forward on the fan to get it out of the way. There are 4 bolts holding the fan shroud to the radiator. There are 2 on each side. Mine is slightly different because I did an engine mount lift and I was in a rush that same day to get this to the shop. And I found out that once I put it back together, my fan was hitting the shroud, so I had to raise the shroud up. So I just used 4 self-tapping screws to hold it in place because the bolt holes no longer lined up. So go ahead and take those bolts out, slide the shroud forward. So I've got the fan shroud unbolted. Now I'm just going to lift up, kind of just slide it out of the way, gives you that little extra room there. And then on both sides of the radiator, you have 3 bolts, so 6 total. They just run down the outside right here, and those are a 10mm bolt. So you need to take those out, and then that should free up the radiator to be removed. So this top bolt on the driver's side of the radiator, that also holds your breather tube for your axle vent up there. So make sure that you don't lose that, and then make sure you remember to put it back when you put the new radiator in. So I'm leaving this top bolt in, but a little loose right now. I want to get all the bottom ones out, and then I'll take the top 2 out and lift the radiator up. The bottom bolt on the passenger side is a little easier to get from underneath. So I believe this is the final bolt holding on the radiator. I'm going to go ahead and pop it off. So here's a look at the new radiator and the old radiator. They appear to be identical except for those 2 fittings on the bottom of this one. Again, because that one is technically for an automatic, but from what I've read, it will work on a manual, and then you'll see mine does not have those. But like I said, only difference I see, so it should bolt right up, so I am very happy about that. I'm going to lower the radiator in here now carefully. I'm going to get some of the bolts started. I'm going to put anti-seize on the bolts, just, you know, thinking of the future in case I ever have to take it out again. And then I'm going to get all 6 bolts tightened down. So I'm going to get everything lined up in there, make sure I'm not pinching any wires or hoses behind the radiator. And then on this top driver's side one, don't forget to put your breather hose back on there. It just goes through that same bolt hole. So now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten down all 6 of those bolts off camera. I've got the radiator all tightened down. Now I'm going to move on to reconnecting the fan shroud, and that is just 2 bolts on each side. Mine's a little different than yours, like I said, because of my engine lift. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt that back on, and I'll see you guys after. So I've got the fan shroud remounted on here. Everything's looking pretty good. The next step would be to reconnect the upper and lower radiator hoses, and then you would put your reservoir or overflow tank back on and connect it here. This radiator did not come with a radiator cap, so I did also purchase a Stant 18-pound radiator cap off of Amazon. I'll put a link for this stuff down in the description. So that pretty much completes the removal and reinstall of the radiator on my TJ, except for the hoses and the reservoir like I mentioned. I'm leaving those disconnected right now because I'm not sure what antifreeze my shop used when they did the thermostat. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do a system flush, a coolant system flush. I'm going to use some DI water, and I'm going to go through here and flush out all the old antifreeze. I don't really want to make a video on that right now. This was really just the removal and reinstall. I don't really have time to make the video. I'll talk through it just a little bit real quick to give you guys an idea, but that's going to be it. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what I'm going to do. So if you look right here, you've got these 2 hoses that go into the firewall. That goes into your heater core. You can disconnect these hoses and, plumb it up however you want with another hose and a funnel, flush DI water through one way, then switch it and flush it back the other way, so you're running water through it both ways to rinse it. Then I'll probably dump some DI water through the block here. There is a drain plug on the block on the driver's side. Mine's never been removed, and I have no idea if it'll come out. I might try and do that because it'd be a good way to drain all that fluid, but it's also like a specialty 8mm square head, like socket or whatever. So I'm not super excited about trying to get that out, but it would be the best way to do it. So basically, just DI water, flush through the system, try and get all the old antifreeze out, and then I'll put in new antifreeze. When you're filling up your radiator, as long as you've got the reservoir hooked up and everything, the overflow, you can fill this up, turn it off, probably fill the reservoir about halfway between the add and the full line. And this is a self-burping system, so you don't have to leave the cap off or do anything crazy with a big funnel up top. It'll take care of itself. Just run it, let it get warm, and then check the reservoir, or let it cool down, then check the reservoir and see if you need to add more or not. I know that's a real quick and dirty explanation. There are videos you can go watch for more in-depth explanation. I just personally don't have time to make that right now, so sorry about that, guys. But I do hope that this radiator swap video helped you guys out a little bit. It's going to be really hard to find OEM ones now, so you might have to go with aftermarket. It could be a little different, but in general, this is a really easy job, maybe an hour to 2 hours, depending on how quick and how hard you're getting at it. But I really appreciate you guys watching. If this video helped you and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you are subscribed, I'd love it if you guys like the video and drop me a comment down below. I still have the TJ, putting out TJ content. I've got the Gladiator, I'm putting out Gladiator content. So I'm trying to grow and expand the channel and keep everyone's interest. So I really appreciate any support you guys can give, and I'll see you on the next one.